Hello guys, part 2 of my assessment of watching it. I didn't watch all of this because a few people phoned and other things came up, but I got a general essence. Oh, that lady finally finished talking. And it did amuse me actually that the judge, basically, they got quite fed up with her in the end. And she was querying an email exchange that had apparently taken place as part of the evidence had taken place before between, for example, someone in RAVEC and someone else. And she was complaining that it wasn't clear. And the chairman judge was reading it and he basically said, well, I'm reading it and it seems pretty clear to me. That's the essence of what he said. And he said to her, look, even though these are very brief email exchange, they're very important. Just because something's in brief does not make it any less important. You don't need 500 pages to say something important, which I thought was quite amusing because I thought, thank God, yes, tell her, good grief. Then I think she began to realise how long she had gone on. And then he sort of said to her, well, you're running out of time. And she said, oh, I've made good progress. Then the other fella stood up and, as I said, I didn't watch all of it, but I think he's called Sir James. He was a lot more succinct, a lot more. So I've made a few notes this time. Because what this is a very, very, very specialist area of law. I mean, it's not something that most of us have to worry about, is it? Oh, my internationally protected person status, my VIP, I must ring RAVEC up, you know. I mean, ironically enough, RAVEC in itself, it's not a secret, but I suppose the Home Office and RAVEC themselves would have preferred they weren't all over the front pages. And now they've become a household name, haven't they? I'd never heard of them before Harry started kicking off. Since Harry's been kicking off and kicking off and kicking off, now everyone knows about RAVEC. It's a household name. Everyone's more than familiar with it. Well, they've wrapped up for the day. And I think tomorrow they're going to do the stuff behind closed doors. Understandably, that's not going to be to hide things from us, the public, and, you know, is Harry getting away with something? That's going to be because they need to be able to speak freely. And the rules are not just there for Harry. They're there for other people, members of the royal family, presidents, VIPs, very important protected people, and they don't really want to advertise how those people are kept safe. So it's not unreasonable that they would have some stuff held privately. I have seen that people think that some or one of the judges are the same ones as Wanka Warby. Well, I mean, there's only so many judges. You're going to get judges in common sitting in on different cases. But from what I saw, the judges are not choosing one side or the other particularly. So I thought with point one, what is the whole hearing all about? Because I think there might be a bit of misconception. And I'm not sure I've got it entirely straight. The reason that the Court of Appeal like to live stream is because they want everybody to have access to it. Now, I have met some, thankfully very few, but some pompous people in the law who speak to us laypersons as like, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, to them, and I'm sure the Court of Appeal agree and other judges, the law is there for everybody. There's a word called access. And that's why they're live streaming it. It's so everybody can watch. People who have questions, they can find the answers. They can go back. They can watch it as many times as they like. It's called level playing field and giving everybody some level of understanding of what's going on. And everybody's allowed to talk about it. So don't let anybody be pompous with you and say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You're not an expert in this field of law. Because I would imagine not many lawyers are experts in this field of law. Very, very few. So what's the point of this hearing? Right. What Harry's team have got to do in order to win is to, I believe, this is my understanding, and I repeat, I am not a lawyer. What Harry's team have to do is to prove that the previous judgment is flawed or wrong in some way. That's their job. It's not really like, well, they're going to start a whole new fucking trial about it. So that's why Harry's barrister and Sir James, I presume he's the barrister for the Home Office, they're talking an awful lot about the previous judge's decision. And the judges themselves in the Court of Appeal are talking about the previous judge's decision. Did the judge get anything wrong? If Harry's team can prove that the previous judge got something wrong that was quite serious, then they will win. What happens from there? I have no idea. I don't know if it goes back to RAVEC or, I mean, it may. I mean, Harry, I'm just running a hypothesis. Harry may win on a point of law, but then what? I mean, it goes back to RAVEC. Will the court order RAVEC to do? I mean, this is the problem, because the judge and actually both barristers have made the point that this is a new situation. You know, a working member of the royal family flounced off and went to live in another country and comes back to the United Kingdom really infrequently. So what to do? How do we handle this situation? So Harry potentially, let's say he wins, it'd be left up to somebody, Home Office, RAVEC. I don't suppose the Court of Appeal. And then they may make a different decision. Harry don't like, Harry sue all over again. I mean, it could go on and on and on like a hamster's wheel, couldn't it? I personally don't think he's going to win, because so far I haven't seen any evidence that the judge made a flawed decision. I mean, his barrister went on and on and on saying that she felt the previous judge was wrong and he'd made flawed decisions on this, that and the other. But I mean, they all seemed fairly, none of them really seemed like, there was no smoking gun. Do you know what I mean? It looked like she's dealing with a really difficult case. Now, when Sir James stood up, and he was a lot more succinct, he made a really interesting point, because what they've said is, RAVEC sort of sat down and said, well, Harry's left. So he's not going to have full-time protection officers because he's not here. He's not here. Hello. He's in America. So they thought, well, then let's do a bespoke arrangement. And Sir James made the point, and I think the judge agreed, the middle judge, there are 3 judges, that because it's a bespoke arrangement, rather than treating Harry as a common old garden VIP, he's actually getting better treatment because it's being tailored for, catered for his specific needs. And Sir James sort of said, well, there seems to be a misconception by Harry that he's somehow missing out on something. Now, you and I might guess what he's missing out on. I don't know, is the honest answer. I don't know. I don't know enough about IPP. I don't know that it is the same as diplomatic immunity where people escape prosecution. I really don't know. I think it's pretty unlikely that that's what he's after. I think what Harry's after is like a public victory. And I don't think Harry understands all of it either. So, I mean, it goes on and on and on. And I suppose if he loses, he will have to pay costs for the other side. I don't know. I think it's all being played out very publicly because it's publicly funded, and the courts want members of the public that are taxpayers in the UK to understand how the process works. I don't think you're going to see anything about them discussing him visiting dangerous countries like Jamaica, Nigeria, etc., because, as I say, that's not what they're there to talk about. They're there to talk about whether the judge before made a bad decision or a wrong decision, or did he make a decision based on wrong evidence or inaccurate evidence or something that was fundamentally wrong. And as I say, I personally, as a layperson, I haven't seen any smoking gun that suggests that there was anything that was wrong in the first lot. It's possible that Harry, if he were to be given full-time, whatever, because I'm guessing there are grades to this as well. This is not a straightforward thing by any means. This is very, very, very involved. And they are responsible to keep him alive. If he were to visit and he had a whoopsie, then they're going to get blamed for it. So I really don't think that anybody at the palace or RAVEC has gone out of their way to have a go at Harry or, do him down or put him in danger. They've just thought, well, this is unusual. He's left. He's not going to be here. He's not entitled to, full-time security because, he's not here. He's not here. He's gone to live in America. He's not allowed to pay for it either. I mean, it's all just, this is typical Harry, isn't it? Let's go and have a big fucking tantrum in public in front of everybody, innit? I don't know about you, I find it utterly exhausting. But I have watched it. I mean, I am interested in legal cases. I really enjoyed actually listening to what the judges were saying intermittently because they speak very plain English. And they're doing that very deliberately. And they do that at the Court of Appeal, normally. It was only the Warby thing, that was messed up on all kinds of fronts. But I've watched other live streams, Court of Appeal, and the judges do try and speak in very plain, easy English for people like us to understand. And to make sure everybody's got access to it and that it's clear. What I can see is their biggest difficulty they're having at the moment is getting Harry to understand and to make it clear for Harry. That's the big, big obstacle for them. So it will roll on and on and on. And then I don't know when a decision will be forthcoming. Might be forthcoming quite quickly. But I mean, I know courts can say, we need time to go away and review all of the evidence that's been presented. And I mean, this barrister of Harry's, she had this big, thick file. And I mean, she was going through it page by page. And I thought, oh my God, this is like reading Gone with the Wind, only nowhere near as interesting. And then when she got to the end, she produced another file. And I thought, she's got a second file. Whereas the guy for the Home Office had a file with, just a few sheets to make his points. I think she maybe thought she was going to wear them down, but they're just not the sort of people who are going to get worn down. I know. You've got lots of opinions on it as well, haven't you? And as I say, I'm not interested in Lemonada. Not interested at all. The only thing I will say about Lemonada, I looked up and I found a YouTube channel, which you can go and look at as well, if you want, called Lemonada Media. And I assume that that's who it is. It's got about 1,500 subscribers, gets an average view of about 25 views per video. I did watch one of their podcasts, which I was laughing at, but I won't say what the subject matter was or what it was about. But I think these are the same people. So I suppose if you want to watch her Lemonada thing, you could watch it. I'm beginning to wonder when all this is going to end, how many years this goes on for. As always, thank you very much for listening. And I'm sure you've all got your theories, thoughts and opinions. Look forward to seeing them in the comments. And may your God go with you. God save us all.